Okay, here's what we're going to be making today, these gorgeous beef and vegetable pasties. So they're approaching spicy, but they're not spicy. Alright, come on, let's get cooking. Right, so here are our ingredients. We've got some beef, stock cubes, Swiss mushrooms, yellow capsicum, onion, diced bacon, cumin, turmeric and red chili flakes. And for this I'm going to use savoury pastry, short crust pastry rather than a puff pastry. You'll see once we get to the end of the recipe and you're eating it. Alright, let's get cooking. Right, firstly in with a little bit of rice bran oil. Right, now in with our beef mince. That is the correct sound. So always, if you can, make sure you've got that pan nice and hot before you put your meat in, so that you can get that caramelisation on the meat itself. Right, I've taken our cooked mince out of that pan and put it in a bowl, and I put a little bit of oil in there. You can see the leftover beef in the bottom. Well, that's going to impart some flavours to that onion. And to this yellow capsicum, so we'll get them nicely softened, about 5 minutes. And then in with our mushrooms and bacon. In case you hadn't noticed, that is the correct sound. Right, now we can get in with our bacon and our mushrooms. And we'll give them about 10 minutes. 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll add our mince and our stock and our spices. Right, firstly 1/4 teaspoon of chili flakes, 1 teaspoon of cumin, and I've just put in 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric without turning the camera on. Right, we'll just apply a bit of heat here. Now you can, that's the correct sound. About 5 minutes, maybe 3. And then in goes our stock. I've dissolved those 2 stock cubes into 250 ml of water. Now, who spotted the obvious mistake here? I've minced the mess up. No, I've missed the mince. So let's put the mince in before I mess up any more. Stir that through. I better turn this down before I get the incorrect sound. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. In goes the stock, and we're going to turn the pan right down now to simmer for 20 minutes, and then we'll come back. This is thickened up reasonably well, but it's still quite runny, so much so that it would easily leak out of the pastry. So we'll add our thickener, which is 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of cornflour, and we'll mix that in so it's nice and thick. And then we're going to put it to one side to cool. Now I've suggested in the past you just put the whole saucepan up to about halfway in cold water in the sink, and then just stir it occasionally, and around about 10 to 15 minutes it'll be cool enough. At this stage, while it's still hot, you might want to season it. It won't need that much salt because you've got the bacon in there, and it's only the flavour of the pepper you want in there rather than the heat, so not so much of that either. Okay, look how thick that is, beautiful. Let's have a little taste. Oh, these pasties are going to be brilliant. Right, let's leave this to cool now. Right, get your baking tray and baking paper and just line it. This will stop it from sticking. And we can put our pasties on here as we make them. Right, this is the size that I've chosen. It's basically the largest pie dishes that I've got, but this will be perfect size for the pasties. There we are, pretty simple. Just cut these out, and then I'll show you how to fill these. Now don't use any flour here, because if you do it'll stop these from forming a bond around the edges. Now the trick with pasties is don't overfill them. So that's the halfway mark, and we're going to fold over here. That would be just about right, I think. We'll know when we cook them, won't we? Right, let's just fold this over, and you just want to press it down, judging by a little bit coming out. These may be a bit too full. But what I'm going to do is crimp them like this. And you want to score them across as well, so that they can vent. And now put them on your baking paper. And on to the next one, until your baking tray is full of them. Well, I've just I've opened up the oven. I've just had a message on my phone from a friend who said, I'm thinking of making some pasties, like not Cornish pasties, but pastry parcels filled with beef and vegetables. Just as I'm pulling these out of the oven. Great minds, great cooking minds think alike. Let's get these out onto a plate so we can taste them, right? Now, as you can see, I went a bit overboard. I made the pasties and then I had some mixture left over. So I thought, well, why don't I do a couple of pies? And I thought I'd also demonstrate to you what the difference is between putting an egg wash on the top of a pie prior to baking and leaving it as it is. And that's the difference. So that golden texture all over you get from the egg wash, and it's so much more presentable. Right, we're going to take a bite out of this, see what it's like. Pastry's yummy. Filling's not spicy, it's more tasty. I like that. That would actually be nice, sort of dipped in a yogurty dip, I think. Right, so there you have it. Pasties and pies, really, that you can make out of this. This is short crust pastry, by the way. I'm going to stop talking. You can start cooking if you like. I'm going to sit down and eat. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will catch you on my next recipe.